On today's show.
Oh my God, we have done it! 50 wedgies! We celebrate the NBA season's greatest achievement.
What the heck happened to the Wizards? Should Kawhi play tonight? Is Harden's reputation on the line in Game 6?
And Bradley Beal's epic flop stars in a brand new edition of the Meme Team.
It's Thursday, May 11th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, Sweet World, and welcome to The Starters, presented by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey. Whether you're listening to the podcast, joining us live right now on NBA TV, or a little bit later on YouTube, we're very, very happy to have you. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
No words. No words.
To his right, it's the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily, and last, certainly not least, over yonder, it is the bearded one. It's Trey Kirby.
5-0!
5-0! Huge show tonight here. We are going to look back at the Celtics' pivotal Game 5 win, and we'll look ahead and debate, actually, whether James Harden's reputation is on the line heading into Game 6 of that Spurs-Rockets series. We got a brand new edition of the Meme Team and all that, but who cares? History was made last night in the NBA. Yeah, baby!
Yes.
We did it!
We did it!
And it was such a rare wedgie on a free throw attempt, our first of the season from the free throw line, and glad Ian Eagle was on the call, because it was an easy wedgie to miss. It was so quick, but Ian's been a champion of wedgies.
Yep.
And he was on top of it. And because he was on top of it, that started a party on social media, but nothing like the party we're going to have in here.
Oh,
no.
it happened!
It took 1,292 games.
I feel so good! Oh my goodness! We got the banner and everything! Look at the banner, it's incredible!
Wow.
Oh my God! Whoa, easy Lee!
I can't help it!
Well, now that we've reached the 50 mark.
Oh man, it feels good.
Yeah. Let's take a second to remember these snowflakes. Here are all 50 wedgies from the 2016-17 NBA season.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Started a long time ago, guys.
I mean, we were on fire in November.
Yeah, we got off to a great start.
The balls were sticking early.
It was a sticky NBA season. Oh, it was good. This is like seeing old friends you haven't seen in a while.
It really is.
Yeah, look at these.
Yeah, years ago when we set the arbitrary number at 50, who would have guessed that we were picking the perfect number? It takes an entire season to get to 50 right on time. Man, I love it.
Entire season, entire league. Everyone on social media following along as well.
We were lucky because we had one after the buzzer that Joe Borcia came on.
Oh yeah, could have been controversial.
The senior vice president of replay and referee operations told us, no, that's not a wedgie. Luckily, we got to 50, or that would have been a huge controversy. But it took us 1,292 games to get here, to get to 50 wedgies. We got one every 26 games or so. Every 103 quarters or so, we saw a wedgie.
What a roller coaster ride it was. We were projected at one stage for like 60.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Look, I told you, October 14th, I was on the hot seat. You threw the question at me, Tass. Is this the year we get to 50? And I said, I believed, I really did. And I said, it's in my heart. I was almost in tears last night. I can't believe it happened.
I wonder if the increase in three-point shots, if that helped out a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
We had 15 three-point wedgies this year.
Ooh.
Second most, 23 layup wedgies. So, you know, they can happen at any time, anywhere.
Quite a few putback sort of contesting wedgies there as well. Which is
a lot of
interesting.
hands.
Yeah.
A lot of hands.
A lot of bodies and hands
There it is.
usually involved. Yeah, let's get. So who gets the 50th wedgie?
A lot of butts.
Is it Smart because of the free throw attempt? Is it Jalen because he tipped it in there? Who gets the actual credit? Who are we sending
the tipper?
The golden ball to?
Jalen. I think it's Jalen Brown
well,
myself.
Controversial.
Look, well, as you can tell, we were very excited. We were on Twitter going crazy last night, as were a bunch of the Starters fans. Trey, you have a few of the sort of best responses, I guess.
No doubt. The tweets were flying last night, blowing up. #TheStarters. We got fan art like this from Kevin Aquino, who turned the 4 of us into a bunch of Wilt Chamberlains celebrating the Big 5-0. And we also got this from Ian Suarez, who turned us and Shaq into a bunch of beautiful-looking minifigs. Love that.
Wow.
We also got a great suggestion from John Kahn, who said, May 10 should officially become National Wedgie Day, which is a great idea, made even greater by this tweet from Jeff Hebert, who noticed the date was 5/10, and 5 times 10 does equal 50. It was meant to be. But perhaps most important was young Brady Nagel, who told us on yesterday's show he'd get a tattoo if we got to 50 wedgies, which means we had to challenge him to pay up when we hit number 50.
Yep.
And he simply replied, "Will do."
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's official. You got to get that tattoo, Brady. Can't wait to see it, but we still want to hear from you, so hit up that hashtag the starters. Let us know, how are you celebrating 50 wedgies? Send us your best ideas to hashtag the starters. We'll check it out later because we're partying all day. All day.
Does Brady get like a basketball tattooed just above his crack? Like, what do you do?
Really good question.
All right, look, we're going to take a quick break here. We got lots more still to come on the show. We will get into the Celtics and we'll look ahead to tonight's game. But we got to thank the big fella, Shaquille O'Neal, who helped make this a reality. I mean,
he may have made it happen.
Yeah.
we
he
were
made it rain.
we were around that 47, 48 range for a long, long time. We brought in Shaq. We did the very weird wedgie video. We had the hotline. You guys have been calling it. It's unbelievable. But as we go to break, one more time, the extended cut of the wedgie music video. Take it away, Shaq.
Stick the wedgies in if you wanna be my friend. If you wanna be my friend, just stick the wedgies in. Wedgies. Stick the wedgies in if you wanna be my friend. If you wanna be my friend, just stick the wedgies in. Wedgies.
Back in the starters, we are celebrating 50 wedgies, but we gotta talk a little ball here, so it's time for some true or false with last night's action and looking ahead to tonight's. Trey.
The Wizards have owned the first quarter in their series with the Celtics until last night when Boston went on a 16-0 run that started just 2 minutes into the game. Left them with 33 points and a 12-point lead at the end of the opening stanza. The Wiz couldn't get the game under double digits after the first, so true or false, the Wizards lost Game 5 in the first quarter.
I think that's entirely true. The Celtics had 15 fast break points in the first quarter. It was 15-0 in the fast break points. And this game is about confidence. After those easy baskets, the basket started looking huge. They just started hitting shots. They shot 57% through the first 3 quarters. Avery Bradley had his playoff career high before halftime.
Right.
I think they just smacked them around because they were running it down throats. John Wall said after the game that it's not like we weren't ready, but they surprised us. Yeah, I mean, they played their best home game so far in the series. They were ready to play. And they only had 4 fast break points after the first quarter. It wasn't like they had some strategy that was working. They were just literally just running it down their throats.
These were fast break points, a lot of them, not off turnovers.
Yeah.
They were just off missed shots, grab the rebound, go. And they were sprinting. The Wizards looked super, super flat in this game. The Celtics came out, looked like they were playing in a Game 7 type game, a pivotal Game 5, like Game 7. And the Wizards looked like they were honestly playing like a mid-February game before the All-Star break. Their energy, their body language, very weird.
It was like Game 3 against Atlanta in the first round. They just came out and they were
That's
just
a great point.
not interested at all. And I think to them, they played as if like, we've got Game 6 at home anyway, no matter what this result is, we feel confident we can win there, so we're going to try to do it in Game 7. If you're the Celtics right now, you're looking at this Wizards team thinking, you just got to get out and lead on them, and they don't seem to have the fight to want to get back into the game. Never got under double digits after that. That's incredible.
Which is rare in today's NBA, you're right. Like a 15-point lead really isn't a whole lot in this game. But the other thing is the Wizards, they're starting 5 all season long throughout the playoffs. That's usually their advantage.
Yeah.
You know, you tip the ball, that's when they got their 5 best guys out there. So that was the alarming part too. It wasn't, and like once they got down, then you're going to rely on your bench to try and get you back in it or try and get you big minutes there. That was asking.
That being said, they have dominated in Washington.
They have.
You got to feel like we're coming back. right, to Boston?
Sure.
Probably,
Sure,
yeah.
but I'd rather try and
Exactly.
finish the series
Their
in
best
Washington.
chance of finishing the series was getting the win last night and then trying
yeah.
to close it
Game
at home.
7
Game
on
7
the
on the road. I mean, it happens, but it's rare that the road team
More
wins.
rare than 50 wedgies.
Boom!
Whoa!
All right, TK, next one.
All right, the Spurs won Game 5 against the Rockets with Kawhi Leonard missing most of the fourth quarter and all of overtime as he nursed an ankle injury. Kawhi said he was going to play Game 6, but we just found out that he's out for tonight. And a lot of people were suggesting anyways that he should sit to be as healthy as possible for a potential Game 7. Guys, true or false, the Spurs should rest Kawhi for Game 6. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it. We're just learning as the show's going on here that they're sitting him.
I think it's the right move. I would have thought even if he said, and he was saying after Game 5, I want to go. I'm going to go in Game 6. I think this is the right move. Pop is always playing the long game, right? It's not just about this game here. You know, they're not trying to just get to the conference finals. They are trying to win another championship, which means you got to go through the Warriors. Like, you've got one game up. You're going to Houston, who is maybe very likely going to win that game anyway. If Kawhi to play or not, why not give him more rest and try to take care of business in Game 7? Or maybe even your team is so deep you do it in Game 6. I like this decision.
He's got a safety net because they do have one game after this, even if they lose. Sometimes in the playoffs, though, it's like you don't want to risk having to win another game at home. You want to go out and take care of business now. Having said that, obviously Kawhi is not 100%, and then you don't want to risk further damaging that ankle and then potentially losing this game tonight and then not having him for Game 7. So I guess Popovich and the Spurs have decided if we can afford to lose a game, we can afford to lose it tonight.
And it's an ankle injury, so when he didn't play overtime, that was sort of telling to me because when you do twist your ankle, you can sort of, you tighten it up a little bit more and you can go before the swelling happens. It actually, ankles after the injury, they tend to get sort of worse.
Yeah.
So when he didn't play in that overtime, you knew it was pretty bad. So I think this is the right decision.
I imagine with this news, they're focused on getting LaMarcus Aldridge going because they're just going to go through him entirely because they're focused on getting him sort of more confidence. He needs a little Rolando Blackman in his life. I mean,
we all do.
He really, really does. And I think it's indicative after Game 1, you had Tim Duncan talking to him in practice. He came in and said, come on, LaMarcus, let's get this going. And maybe it's his leg injury. You know, Pop said that he's got knee problems. But what's even more indicative is his play. I mean, this is a late game scenario. Kawhi's on the bench. You got Capella flying by. You got a dunk.
Yeah.
You literally have a dunk right there, last few minutes of the game. And in this, it's also indicative when you don't guard James Harden, you don't get your hands up and try and stop him there. So he's lacking some confidence. You know, he did have a game earlier in this series where he seemed to have found it, but this guy was the belle of the ball 2 years ago, 2015, when they signed him. He is not old. He's 31 years old. He can be a guy who can score 25, 28, but there's something going on there where maybe it's that leg injury. Again, it's odd for Greg Popovich to come out and say, yeah, he's dealing with some issues. That's strange, but he's not himself quite yet. I imagine they're going to go to him a ton because he could have won that game for them then.
Well, yeah, he could have. But let's not forget that with the Spurs, they don't make any excuses. If Simmons comes into that starting lineup, that's still not a great matchup for James Harden. He got into his face in Game 5 there. He's going to be expected to do the same thing. Simmons wants to get the minutes. He wants the opportunity. So the Spurs are still obviously going to try and go out there and win that game.
If they won, I mean, we're going to say, oh, that's Spursy of them.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But so, you know, the Rockets thinking that, okay, this is an easy game, Kawhi's not there. Not the case at all. Simmons, you know, again, I mentioned the other day, not a great offensive player. When he can get out and run and dunk and do all that stuff, he's great. But defensively, he's going to be right in James Harden's shorts tonight.
Let's say Kawhi was going to play in this game before we found out he wasn't. Would you have had the Rockets still favored at home?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and that's sort of where I think this makes. I hope if we get to a Game 7, Kawhi's healthy enough to even go in that because we're just assuming but Game 7 he'll go. But the Rockets over the last 25 years they've been the best team when facing elimination at home. So there's some history there, but they've just also played better. Especially James Harden has played much better at home in the playoffs this year in terms of shooting the three ball and scoring. So yeah, I agree with you guys. I would have had the Rockets favored anyway if Kawhi was even going to play. So now that he's not, that makes sense to try and rest him up for, again, a potential Game 7. We will see.
He lacks some lift, that's for sure. So,
yeah. All right, Trey, final one.
All right, James Harden is averaging a very nice 27 points and 10 assists in the Rockets series against the Spurs, but it's his Game 5 crunch time performance that has people talking, and not nicely, as the MVP candidate went just 2 of 7 from the field while turning the ball over 4 times in a fourth quarter in overtime that didn't even feature Kawhi. True or false, Harden's reputation is on the line tonight.
It is somewhat, yeah. Especially true now with Kawhi Leonard not playing. If he can't get his team over the line, people are really going to start asking questions about him, especially how this series started. Game 1, brilliant game, 20 points, 14 assists. You know, didn't shoot.
You called him a maestro, I believe.
He was a maestro because of the way he just dominated that game offensively. Since then, he has taken a few steps back. He had 40 points and a loss there as well. Tonight is the night where he has to absolutely take this game for his team and ensure there is a Game 7 for the Rockets. If he can't do that, people are going to start asking serious questions.
Yeah, I believe he had his chance in Game 5 to win this series for his team. You know, it's hard calling him unclutch, but at the same time, he hasn't been able thus far in his career to really take a team deep into the postseason. I think that's where we are with James Harden. Obviously, a fantastic regular season player, could be MVP. You know, they went to the conference finals once, you know, as the Houston Rockets in 2015, where they got past the Clippers in that 3-1 scenario. You know, he wasn't a large part of that Game 5 comeback. No. You know, he played okay in Game 6 and 7, but, you know, he hasn't really been able to take a team on his back quite yet in this league. You know, he's basically done everything else you can, but he hasn't really won in the postseason. So, you know, anti-clutch, I feel it's like it's a strong label to throw at the guy, but he hasn't been able to do it like others.
Yeah, he wasn't all that great in the regular season this year too, in the clutch situations, which is, you know, it's an instance of the game, right? It's within 5 in the 5 minutes. You know, the game's got to be close, obviously, or overtime. I was going to ask you guys though, like with Harden, do you think a lot of people after Game 5 were saying he was fatigued? He was tired. That's why he struggled.
I mean,
you think it was an excuse?
Yeah, they're playing every second night here. It's not like they're playing back-to-backs.
Yeah.
I mean, there's rest time, you know. Obviously, they have to travel, but at the same time, everybody's playing under the same conditions.
I just thought it was interesting because, you know, when Westbrook was having his fourth quarter struggles, you know, we weren't saying that. We weren't like, well, he's just fatigued. But when Harden struggled in Game 5, and he did look gassed. I mean, he did.
He did. The shots, a couple of the shots were front rim. Obviously an indicator of fatigue.
But he had only played, you know, 43 minutes in an overtime game. That's not a lot.
Yeah.
That really is not a lot. He had played up to 38 minutes in the 4 quarters, and he averaged 37 in the playoffs. I think if you're going to make any excuse, maybe he was more tired because D'Antoni was going small ball, so Harden was then having to match up against bigger guys in the post. And he was doing an actually pretty good job defensively, like holding his own in there, and that can tire you out if you're not used
100%.
to it.
It can, but again, those shots were just bad shots. The ball wasn't moving. There wasn't
the dribble for 15, 20
There wasn't
seconds.
a plan B. That was the concern for me watching them. It was like he was just dribbling, 20 seconds on the shot clock, then he'd go into a move. By that time, everyone's standing around. There was no time for anyone else to get a shot up.
Still had a triple-double.
Yeah.
Still had a good game, but there were some instances where he passed off and decided...
Shot selection just wasn't there.
I'm just going to hang out. I mean, a really good game up until that point.
For sure. All right, got to take a break. When we return, the wedgie celebrations continue, and Bradley Beal's flop stars in a brand new edition of the Meme Team. Don't go anywhere.
The Starters on NBA TV is brought to you by Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey, proud partner of the NBA. Do your friends proud. Please drink responsibly.
Back with the Starters. Every Thursday, guys, we scour the internet to bring you the Meme Team, our favorite weird and wacky moments from the past 7 days.
We had a good week in the Meme Team. At number 5, Kelly Oubre was suspended 1 game for this beeline right at Kelly Olynyk after getting picked by him. Oh. And the score provided us with a great Waterboy meme.
Look at me, I'm the one with Waterboy, dude. I got a wooden spoon, dude. Red
At number 4, Dirk Nowitzki doing a little spring closet cleaning, taking us back to the mid-90s. I definitely have that sweater and the quadruple XL pants, and then NBA on TNT, putting them in there to in sync. Fits right in.
Oh, where'd Joey Fatone go? At number 3, it was revealed this week Lonzo Ball's signature shoe will be priced at $495.
What a deal.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yahoo Sports gave us a like Mike comparison. Yeah, you better play like Mike to sell for that much. Cycle compared them to Kobe's. They definitely look like Kobe's. And a hashtag was born on Twitter. Things I'd rather spend $495 on. 2,200 chicken McNuggets? Sure.
Good deal.
Ticket to an overbooked flight on United? Oh, great one. A Ja Rule concert. Oh, ding.
Oh, that's a great hashtag. At number 2, Bradley Beal gave us an epic flop in Game 3 against the Celtics. Yeah, down he goes. And the internet got to work, SB Nation, putting him on the slip and slide. Skydiving without a parachute, very dangerous. Looking like some John Salmon going upstream there. And of course, he got the Shooting Stars meme treatment.
Oh, man.
This one's really well done,
yeah.
too.
That one's great.
Lee, I believe the artist of this song is Australian.
Ah,
Yeah,
I must know it.
Jam!
this is a jam. We should have played this when we got our 50th wedgie.
There's always next year.
That's right, that's right.
And at number 1, after Manu's game-ending block on James Harden in Game 5, people's adoration for the legend, well, it exploded on the internet. It's Judas19 tweeted, "If they don't look at you the way Pop looks at Manu after a block, they don't deserve you." NBA skits. Tim Duncan's reaction was this, of course. Yeah. Matt Bonner memed it right here. The Teen Wolf Love. Matt Bonner made that. Django Unchained reminded us that this was not Manu's best block of his career. And Alex Medina made it the new NBA logo. Jerry West is done with being the logo, so why not?
Ginobili! Well, there it is, brand new edition of the Meme Team. Final break, but when we return, Lee gonna hit us with a VSP. You're watching The Starters, presented by Jack Daniels, Tennessee Honey. Oh, it happened. Our 50th wedgie on the season last night. Unbelievable, historic moment in the NBA. We asked you, how are you celebrating 50 wedgies? We're having a blast here. Trey, you got a few of the best answers.
Yeah, some fun answers. Aaron says, I'm kicking back with champagne, and for the next 50 days, I'm watching a wedgie a day.
You crazy, Aaron!
It's crazy. James says, I'm currently only wearing underwear and a Jaylen Brown shirt. That counts as celebrating. Also weird. Cammy says, I'm using my old vintage disco ball and having an alone party in my living room. Cool. And Sergio says, by thanking the wedgie gods. Thank you so much, wedgie gods.
Oh,
Couldn't
man.
have done it
Great
without you.
stuff. Keep your tweets coming in about the 50 wedgies on the season. In the meantime, Lee, why don't you hit us with a VSP, man?
Yeah, it's a beauty here. Watch out. Where's Avery Bradley? There he is, right there. You think that's going to be the play, but no, it's the extra pass
fake out.
over. Yeah. Here it is again. You think it's going to be that pass, but it's a very nice extra pass to Amir Johnson. That's what I call a very solid play.
That was a very badly done pun. Now it's time for our fan of the night. The fans are bringing it in the postseason. They are just so pumped, so excited. They cannot stay in their seats. Watch this fan after Jay Crowder bangs this shot. This fan is pumped. Bill Belichick,
Going crazy.
Pat's head coach,
Going crazy.
so pumped.
He's got that Werther's in his mouth. He's going nuts. Tomorrow, we got the Drop Podcast. It'll be a classic. Don't you worry. Join us around noon, 1 o'clock. We get it up on iTunes, Google Play Music, our website, Spotify, SoundCloud. I don't know. I'm just making them up. Tonight on ESPN, it is Game 6 between the Spurs and Rockets. Kawhi Leonard is not playing in this one, so here you go, Rockets. Give us a Game 7.
He's
We'll be
hungover
back.
from 50 wedgies.
Maybe, yeah. Everyone's celebrating. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, every wedgie is a snowflake, so it was only fitting our snow angel had some fun in the flakes.
Praise the night, people.